Hello everybody, it's Mark T, and it's something I haven't done for a very long time. Anime Friday. Yes, haven't done this for a long time, but I'm trying to bring it back because I'm usually free on Fridays as of now, and just trying to have some more fun around here. So, this Anime Friday, I'll be talking about Rurouni Kenshin. If you didn't know, this is actually one of my favorite manga series. I think it's number 8 in my top 10 favorite manga / anime series, and it's really good. If you haven't read it, check it out. Okay, basic synopsis of this series is basically we see our main character Kenshin Himura, who is basically used to be something called a Batosai, which is, I'm assuming it's a warrior for the government to try and make Japan, or I'm not really sure where this is set into a new world, basically create a revolution to make things better in a sense. And after the war and after killing a bunch of people, Kenshin just wanted to live a peaceful life where he wouldn't have to fight or kill anybody anymore. He still knows how to fight, but he didn't want to anymore. Then we run into Kaoru, who is chasing after someone claiming to be the Batosai, but ends up running into Kenshin and trying to beat him up because she thinks he's holding a sword. Now, in this day and age, having a sword is illegal. You can't actually have a sword, or else you could be arrested by the police or whoever. So, yeah, it's kind of a big no-no. So she thinks she's caught him when actually Kenshin is just using a special kind of sword called the Sako Bato, which is basically a reverse blade sword, where the blade part of the sword is on the opposite side. So when you use it the way you would think you'd use a sword, it won't actually kill anybody, but it can still do some pretty serious damage. So yeah, she runs into him, and then she starts chasing after the criminal again, just to find out that he's gotten away. So then after that, we see that Kaoru has let Kenshin stay with her, and basically while working together, they eventually figure out who the fake Batosai is, and Kenshin kicks some serious ass. Now Kaoru, if you couldn't guess, is the main love interest in this series. She's a really good character. The thing is, she's not fleshed out very well. The most that we know about her throughout the series is that her father was running the Kendo school that she has, and she uses the style. Shoot, 1 second. I can't remember what the name of her style was. Sorry. Well, I can't really remember. Can't see it right now because I'm doing a video. But the style was basically called the sword that gives life, which ironically doesn't make much sense. And even Kenshin admits that in the finale of the first chapter, where he says swords are clear tools and weapons that are made to hurt people. But it's a sword that can protect life. That's important. And this basically starts Kenshin out on a giant adventure and sort of a redemption trip for all the people that he's killed. So throughout this series, we get a lot of characters, but there are basically 4 main characters. There's Kenshin, there's Kaoru, there's a young kid that Kaoru basically takes in as an apprentice, as well as not really a son, just like as an apprentice kid that lives with them, named Yahiko, who's a very hard-headed individual that's, the thing, I'll say more when I get into his character, but Yahiko's just like a hard-headed, hot-headed little kid that wants to be responsible and that actually talks like an adult. And then we also have the last character, who is Sagara Sanosuke, who is probably my favorite character in the series beside the Yahiko, who is just all-out street fighter that fights for money or just for the fun of it, because he wants to find the best enemy he can, so he can prove that he's the strongest. Clearly, the saying, no matter how strong you are, there will always be somebody stronger than you, has not sunk in. At least not until he meets Kenshin. So, let's go over the basic thing. So, like I said, Kenshin is basically sort of trying to get redemption, trying to live peacefully as a Rurouni, which, if you didn't know, is basically a swordsman that just wanders the world, that never stays in one place for too long, and that just lives, basically. Anyway, now it's time to get down to character specifics. So, like I said, Kenshin, like I just said, Kenshin's a very nice person. You know, he's generally a very nice person, very kind, very calm, and very, always cool in a very good situation. The unfortunate aspect is that when he meets someone that he can't defeat in his own calm mind, he seems to switch into the Batosai way, which is basically becoming overly violent and try incredibly hard to even kill people, even though he's sworn against it. And his final revelation into overcoming his Batosai mode is when he meets his old master that taught him how to use the sword, and he basically learns the final technique of the Hiten Mitsurugi style, which is the style that he uses for his sword, and finally overcomes the Batosai part. Because the main point for him overcoming it is basically being strong without having to be a ravenous, bloodthirsty beast, which he sort of was when he was younger. So, that's his basic completion. Kaoru really doesn't get that much character development in terms of certain things. She's just, at first she seems like a cool, tough heroine that's basically always going to be by the main character's side, that's going to fight with him and everything. And she does get a few of her own fighting scenes, which are really fantastic to see. It's just she doesn't really get as much development as you'd like. For the most part, it sort of seems like she's just a classic damsel in distress most of the time. But she does get a few fights of her own that are really fantastic. And she's just a classic tomboyish girl, so you can just run with that. If you want to see more, just read the manga. Next we have Yahiko, who's my favorite character, who's just, like I said, a hot-headed kid who basically was the son of a samurai and I don't know, just a woman, like I said, just son of a samurai, sorry about that. And he basically wants to follow sort of his father's footsteps and become a full-fledged swordsman, so that he can live a peaceful life. Basically, he's very hot-headed. But the interesting thing about this series is that when you first see him, it sort of makes him out to be kind of like that bratty kid, like Wesley from Star Trek. But the thing is that he actually speaks in the way he thinks and the way he talks. Everything he does makes sense in the world. At one point in the series, he ends up at one point, two of Kaoru's old students come back to the dojo for protection because they had gotten into a fight with a few supposed drunk people. In the end, it turns out that they were the ones that started a fight and tried just acting all big and jerkish because they knew certain ways of the sword. And Yahiko was the first one to notice this, and he says it. So in the end, they end up giving up the sword, and Yahiko was right. So Yahiko is very much like an adult. He's a kid, and he's also very hot-headed and reckless. So, for God's sake, sorry about this. I'll come back in part 2.